Hi family and YouTube friends. I'm still having a great time getting out, enjoying the beautiful weather, and enjoying the beautiful scenery. But this video is about 5 things that van life newbies should always keep in mind that will really make things easier for them. And I was out enjoying life, preparing things for a great 2-day trip that I wanted to take, and guess what? Those 5 things that van life newbies should keep in mind, I forgot one of them, which is why I was not able to take my 2-day trip. Unbelievable. After traveling for years, you'd be surprised how, if you forget some things, it could really mess with your plans. So yeah, I'm still out looking at a few things, checking my cards, and at this point, I'm not aware that I've made the mistake. So at this point, I think I'm still taking this 2-day trip. So enjoy the video and stick around to the end, and let's talk about those 5 things that van life newbies, and even those who have been traveling for some years, should keep in mind, because I forgot one of those things, which is why my 2-day trip has to be postponed. Well, I hope you enjoy. I am once again just leaving my van, I was getting a few more things together for some of the trips I'm taking. I was trying to make sure it was necessary for me to have as many extension cords. I haven't put a hole in the van yet for a plug, so I may just use my extension cord. I haven't decided yet, but of course I'm out at a local park enjoying the beautiful weather. Thought maybe I'd take you along. Now, one of the things I'm doing today is in preparation. You're going to hear, I think, a little work being done because they are doing some major improvements at this park, so that's beautiful. But one of the funny things that I'm doing today is in preparation for the longer road trips, and that's starting to go for longer walks. One of the people I travel with will be looking for a hike wherever we go. And so I'm out taking a walk and preparing for this person who is always taking me on these hikes. And you look at my videos, I may have shown 2 or 3 of those hikes. And some of them can be quite strenuous. So I thought I better start walking more. I mean, being busy, of course we know being busy and walking are 2 different things. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm busy. I walk around a lot. But I need to make sure, and this is just a me thing. Of course, everyone doesn't have to do this. But you know what? If you go out and you travel with someone who is always looking for a hike, I suggest you do it too. So yeah. But of course, the day is beautiful, so it's perfect. So I'm out here just taking a beautiful walk. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. And as usual, I'm always looking for some water, just because it's just serene and it's beautiful. But yeah, out taking a walk this morning. So just wanted to give you all a little snippet. So that's what I'm doing. This is part of my preparation. Not just the things, but also being prepared physically. This is what I'm doing, you guys. Out here just having a wonderful walk, because I actually have some things to do with some family members later. But what I wanted to do was get my me time in. That's one thing van life will teach you. Me time is so important. So I wanted to make sure I got it in today. So yeah, I'm just walking around, you guys. Look. Because I'm all out in these city streets, today it was racetrack coffee. Yeah, I didn't feel like firing up the butane stove and creating extra heat, so I figured why not just get some coffee from Racetrack and get the rest of the day going. Yes, it appears so. It's nice and fresh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's time to cut my knitting. It's a little too long and it gets a little aggravating dealing with it, so I need to cut it down some so it'll fit the door. Okay, now it's even with the very bottom, and I let it hang over just a little, just in case I ever want to tuck it under to keep it really secure. Let me show you. See? With screen holding over, you're able to tuck it under. If you're ever somewhere and you want to make sure the bugs can't get in, you can tuck it all the way over under and get it in really snug. At this point, I hadn't figured out that I wouldn't be taking my trip yet, but I would soon know. And since I was going to discuss it with you, I figured, hey, why not discuss 5 things that Vanlifers, new Vanlifers, should keep in mind to make things easier for them, even though I made one of those mistakes after traveling for years. Which brings me to this part of the video, at home instead of out on my getaway. And of course, I made a newbie mistake, which is why I'm here. So even though you've been doing it for years, if you do not stay diligent, you will still find yourself making a mistake. Anyway, the 5 things that new Vanlifers should keep in mind or do to make it a little easier on themselves starts with this. I even have my list so we can stay on point. Number 1, know that you will be uncomfortable. Yes, van life is what it appears to be. There's freedom. It's amazing. It's just exhilarating to be able to drive and go wherever you want and not have to worry about if you can find a hotel room or if you can't find a campground, because you have everything you need. And as long as you're somewhere safe, you'll be able to park and be content. But you need to know that you will be uncomfortable. And in the beginning, you're not going to be comfortable just sleeping at a truck stop or at a Cracker Barrel, or if they allow it, some Walmart parking lots. You're not going to be comfortable with that right away. You're going to jump up at every little sound that you hear, and you might not get the best sleep in the beginning. It does get easier. But if you know that going in, you won't give up. And if you learn how to just deal with the discomfort that you do deal with, like maybe being a little too hot sometimes, being too cold, I had to learn the hard way. If you can just learn those things, and once you become comfortable with it, then it'll get easier. But as a new van lifer, just know that you're not going to be comfortable. Me going out in a van and sleeping in an area that's unknown to me was very uncomfortable for me. But it did become easier, and you learn how to maneuver more. So the first thing, just know you're going to be uncomfortable, and it'll get better. So just know that. As a new van lifer, it's important to know that, because it makes it easier for you to transition into trusting your gut. So always remember that. The second thing a van lifer should keep in mind or implement to make van life a little easier for them is when traveling, if you decide to stay at a truck stop, Cracker Barrel, rest area, wherever you're going to sleep, when you get there, never get out of your vehicle. Now, of course, I'm primarily talking to women who travel alone. And even though you may travel with a group, many times, depending on where you're meeting them, it may take you 1 or 2 days to meet up with the group. So there have been times I've had to sleep on the road 1 or 2 nights before I even met up with anyone. So whenever that happens, don't ever get out of the vehicle when you get to the place where you're going to actually sleep. Now, a way to get around doing what you need to do and not getting out is stop at an exit before where you're going to sleep. Or even if you go at the same exit, go to a different gas station, gas up, get your coffee, grab a bite to eat, whatever you're going to do. Do that at another gas station. It can be at the same exit, But then when you go to the truck stop where you feel comfortable sleeping, never get out of the vehicle. Simply pull in, find where you're going to park, put your curtains or whatever it is that's going to block your front window or your windows, whatever your setup is, and never get out of the vehicle. Because that way they have no idea who's in the vehicle. They don't know if you're alone. Even if someone saw you driving in, they don't know if someone else is in there. So that's one way to be safer. So as a new van lifer, that's a great way to travel. Whatever you need to do, do it at another exit. If what you need to do has to be at the same exit that you got off at, go to another gas station or whatever, get your food, get your gas, and sleep at the truck stop that you want to sleep at. Now, like most of us, if we sleep at a truck stop, we want to say, hey, we want to at least buy something from there as a thank you. Wait till the next morning. Get up the next morning, go get you a quick cup of coffee, get in your vehicle and leave. So that's one way to get around that. Okay, so that was number 2. That's a good thing for new van lifers to do, no matter where you're traveling, especially if you're a woman traveling alone. Number 3 and number 4. Well, let's start with number 3. When traveling, especially if you're going to be somewhere where you're not around any friends or family and you're just traveling out, always travel with cash and plastic or a card. And I'll tell you why. There used to be a time when I started out where I was like, well, there's so much fraud, so maybe I don't want to use my card at the different gas stations. I'll just travel with cash. Yeah, not such a bad idea until you go to an area where the gas station on the inside closes early. There are some areas where the gas station on the inside or the convenience store or whatever it is will close their doors and lock them for whatever reason. And you're able to just pump your gas and keep moving. But outside, you can only use a debit or a credit card. Yeah, that almost happened to me. As a matter of fact, it did, and I had to find another place. And I think that happened in my first year on the road. I never did that again. After that, I made sure I carried cash and a card. Now, let's say you only use a card. I'll give you another example. This happened maybe 2 years ago. Me and a few people were out on the road, and I don't know if it was this particular gas station or what, but our banks locked our cards. And I was like, wait, I think a few of us, we told our banks that we would be traveling. And we even told them we would be going to several states. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it was something in the system, because if you're out on the road for a certain amount of time, it could be anything. The bank could end up locking the card and you have to call in and verify who you are. And what if you're somewhere where you don't have the best phone service? That could easily happen when traveling. You might not always have the best phone service. So if you're somewhere and your card is locked and you don't have any cash, see what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to use cash. Sometimes you have to use card. It's best to carry both, which I have been doing for years now when I get on the road. However, the 4th point I want to make is the rookie newbie mistake that I made, which is why I'm sitting here talking to you instead of out on my trip. I had the cash and the card, but I kept them together. I didn't separate them and keep them in different places. And that's something we should do, because a couple of days ago, I was with my mom and we were in her vehicle. So when I came back home, I left my wallet in her vehicle and did not realize that until a day later, when I thought I was getting ready to go on a road trip. Now, what's crazy about this is I never keep my cash and both my debit and credit card. I never keep them in one place together. But for whatever reason, this time I not only had my cash that I had gotten out of the ATM in my wallet, I had my debit card and my credit card all together in the wallet. So there was no way. The banks were closed already, right? Because the banks close at a certain time on Saturdays. They don't open again until Monday mornings. So I had no way to get my money, to get any more money. In other words, I couldn't walk into the bank and say, hey, my mom has my wallet, and show them some other type of identification and get some money out of the bank. Had no way of getting money, had no card to use. So that meant I had to stay put. And I sat there like, what was I thinking? Why would I keep all of those together? So even if you're on the road, you never keep all of that together. What if you lose your wallet? What if you leave it to, what if it's stolen? You always want to have a way to still access your money so that you can keep going and then just take care of things as you go. But I didn't do that. And it was a rookie move because I had not done that in years. That's why I'm totally baffled by it, which only makes me think there had to be a reason for me not to go on the road, because why else would this happen? This is crazy. I had everything together in the wallet. Even when traveling other ways, everyone knows you should never do that. You should always have things in different places. So yeah, that was a rookie move. And I made that mistake, which is why I'm sitting here now. So for the fifth and last thing that I think new Vanlifers should always keep in mind is you should go with the flow. Be flexible. Be flexible and don't lose your mind over unexpected occurrences, because they will happen. I guarantee you they will happen. The weather could all of a sudden totally change your plans. I can't tell you how many times we thought we were going to go do one thing, and then all of a sudden the group had to change its mind. We had one trip that was just totally cut short by at least a month because storms kept coming, and there were like hurricane threats, all types of things that were happening. And we couldn't even finish the trip because the areas that we wanted to be in, these storms kept coming through. So you have to be flexible because things will happen. So that's it. The newbie mistake that I made has me here at home talking to you instead of being out on the road. But just keep that in mind. You're going to be uncomfortable. Sooner or later, you will learn how to deal with that. But as a new van lifer, it's going to be extremely uncomfortable at first. But don't worry about it. It'll get better. And don't ever get out of the vehicle where you're going to be sleeping if you're traveling alone. If you're traveling with other people and you're in a group, then, I mean, hey. But there are times even as a group we don't. We'll just say, hey, when we get to this spot, depending on how we feel, we just don't get out. So that's just a good rule of thumb. And carry cash and card and never keep them together in the same place. And stay flexible. So that's it. So yeah, I just had to turn some lemons into lemonade because I was all prepared to have my little getaway. And apparently that was not going to happen because I made a rookie mistake. Anyway, okay, until next time, family and YouTube friends, be blessed and stay safe. Bye.